G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. About 5 minutes ago, as I was sitting here monitoring my remedial feeding program, unregulated, apart from personal observation, of 3 sets of golf cart batteries, which some damn dumb fuck has not yet quite got around to installing in the pyramid of power. And as I was sitting there on my little veranda in the midst of my palatial mansion, my hacienda, my enclave of peacefulness, I was interrupted, I was disturbed when my landline began to ring. So yeah, I answered it, but sadly I was not quite sufficiently prescient as to have started recording a video before answering the phone. Because instead of being regaled by a heavily accented voice telling me how much money I could save by changing the brand of my electrical grid connection, like the one that I don't have, and that's pretty average for my phone calls, like maybe 5 out of every 6 phone calls I receive on my landline, some half-wit, is trying to sell me a new connection to the grid. And I don't connect to the grid, I'm standalone solar. Malt liquor video, by the way, label out. Guess who's been drinking in the middle of the day? Because you know what? Manually monitoring 3 solar panels charging 3 battery banks, while it's a shit pot full cheaper than buying new batteries. And if you seriously plan on living from society's cast-offs, it's necessary, but it's as boring as batshit.
Probably
so there I was listening to ABC Radio National, reading up on World War I history, slowly, gently, getting and staying pissed, while manually, organically, biologically replacing 3 charge controllers. When, as I was saying, the telling bone rang at me. And you know what? What I heard was a slightly aggressive, robotic, artificially generated voice informing me that I'd been rung by the Australian Taxation Department, claiming that they'd been doing some data cross-matching and that I had been found to be outside the boundaries of that which is allowed. They stated that if I failed to contact a 03 telephone number, which they quoted at me 2 or 3 times, if I failed to contact them, then action would be taken against me, including the issuance of a warrant for my arrest. The fact that this comes 1 week after Centrelink sent me a computer-generated letter telling me that if I failed to ring a particular telephone number at their compliance division, then I was going to be at risk of having my payments stopped. So therefore I rang the number. And, they said to me, "Are you still in possession of a crashed ultralight aeroplane?" "Yes, I am." "Are you still in possession of a crashed ultralight aeroplane engine?" "Yes, I am," I said. "It's not the engine that I crashed, it's the engine which killed my best friend when Canada John conducted his kamikaze attack on a sheep on the 10th of September 1995, the anniversary of my father's death, actually. So yeah, just as I have the propeller that Canada John broke across the hub, and I have his cooling fan with his throttle cable still stuck in it, so do I also have, still in its trailer, the ultralight motor glider, which I crashed 25 years ago, and which is still the reason why I walk and I limp while carrying my grandfather's walking stick. Actually, the head is my grandfather's walking stick head. The stick itself is some Malacca cane, which my father cut. That'll teach me to be a smart ass. My father cut in Queensland in 1928. There we go. Scene completed. And yeah, I do, in fact, still get around with a walking stick. And I do, in fact, as the tax people wanted to know, or the Centrelink people wanted to know, I do still have the Subaru touring wagon. And because it's unregistered, because it's unroadworthy, it's used as a paddock basher, and therefore thus and because I do now have, courtesy of a bank loan, a personal loan, unsecured, I have a Subaru Forester as well. Both of them sporting solar panels. And also, I am still resident on the 100 acres which I paid for the title deed of. And therefore that makes me responsible for everything alive. Unless it's protected species, unless it's an endangered species, unless it lives on a slope of more than 30 degrees, I am permitted and entitled to kill it if I think I can make a profit out of so doing. My conceit is that I have not attempted to do so. What I've done is I've paid rates on 100 acres. And the biomass and the biodiversity have both increased. The topsoil is rising up to cover over the moss is rising up to cover over the rocks. I haven't made any money. I have no bone with the Taxation Department. If some half-wit thinks that they can ring me up with a robot and frighten me into calling their 03 telephone number, i.e. it's somewhere in Victoria, then they have another think coming, because I might be the fool on the hill, the celibate vegetarian poet, the tree-hugging greenie who uses trespassing sheep for archery practice, and I hand feed the kangaroos and the wallabies, and at least 3 species of native birds. But I'm not dumb enough to ring a telephone number when somebody tells me that the Taxation Department is after my hide less than a week after Centrelink has done a review of my pension status and considered my assets and told me that my payments are going to be unchanged. So, whomsoever it is who has hacked the Australian Centrelink telephone database, fuck you! You got nowhere. I outed you. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. This is such a long-standing status quo ante that for Christmas this year, my mother gave me a new walking stick. I kid you not. And some damn dumb prick thought I was silly enough to fall for their bullshit. Ciao.